Question 61. A platform team wants each merge to the main branch to automatically test, package, and promote updated prompt flows and model configurations from a test project to production. Which practice are they implementing? A. Increasing the rate limit. B. A one-time export to a spreadsheet. C. Manual portal clicks per release. D. A CI/CD pipeline for the Foundry project. Pause the video if you don't want the answer yet. Correct answer. D. A CI/CD pipeline for the Foundry project. Why D is correct? The scenario describes an automated release process triggered by code changes. Merge to main branch, automatically test, package updated prompt flows and model configurations, promote from test to production. This is exactly a CI/CD pipeline. Microsoft Foundry supports CI/CD style workflows for hosted agents, including deploying updated code and validating the agent with test prompts through GitHub Actions. Prompt flow documentation also describes integrating testing and evaluation into CI/CD systems to ensure flow quality. Question 62. A team needs to promote an agent definition from development to production while keeping a record of exactly which version is running and the ability to roll back. Which approach supports this? A. Version controlling the agent definition and deploying through the pipeline. B. Deleting and recreating the agent each release. C. Editing the live agent directly in the portal. D. Storing the definition only in a chat transcript. Pause the video if you don't want the answer yet. Correct answer: A. Version controlling the agent definition and deploying through the pipeline. Why A is correct? The requirements are: promote from development to production, know exactly which version is deployed, support rollback, maintain release history and traceability. These are classic DevOps, Gen AI Ops requirements. The best practice is to store the agent definition in source control, Git, track changes through commits, branches, and tags, deploy via a CI/CD pipeline, promote tested versions through environments, roll back by redeploying a previous tagged version released. Question 63. An architect must ensure a model deployment can scale request throughput independently from other models in the same project without one workload starving another. Which practice supports this isolation? A. Creating separate deployments with their own capacity per workload. B. Removing all quotas. C. Using one API key for everything. D. Sharing a single deployment across all workloads. Pause the video if you don't want the answer yet. Correct answer: A. Creating separate deployments with their own capacity per workload. Why A is correct? The requirement is one workload should not starve another, throughput should scale independently, capacity isolation between workloads. The best practice is to create separate model deployments, and if needed, separate provision capacity for different workloads. Question 64. A company operating in 2 continents wants low latency for users on each and the ability to fail over if one region has an outage. Which infrastructure pattern should they adopt? A. Multi-region deployments with traffic routing and failover. B. Batch-only processing. C. A free tier in one region. D. A single deployment in one region. Pause the video if you don't want the answer yet. Correct answer: A. Multi-region deployments with traffic routing and failover. Why A is correct? The requirements are users in multiple continents, low latency for each user population, high availability, automatic failover during regional outages. A multi-region deployment where traffic routing and failover addresses all of these requirements. Question 65. A developer wants to try a preview model quickly with no capacity reservation and minimal setup, accepting variable performance for experimentation. Which deployment choice fits early prototyping? A. A serverless standard pay-as-you-go deployment. B. A multi-region provisioned fleet. C. A dedicated batch cluster. D. A provisioned reservation sized for production. Pause the video if you don't want the answer yet. Correct answer, A. A serverless standard pay-as-you-go deployment. Why A is correct? The question emphasizes try a preview model quickly, minimal setup, no capacity reservation, accept variable performance, early experimentation, prototyping. A standard serverless pay-as-you-go deployment is designed for exactly this scenario. It lets developers start using models immediately without reserving capacity or planning throughput. You pay only for usage, making it ideal for proof of concepts, testing, and early development. Azure OpenAI Foundry describes standard deployments as on-demand, pay-as-you-go consumption, while provisioned deployments require reserved capacity. Question 66. An enterprise wants secrets such as connection strings and third-party API tokens used by their AI app to be stored centrally and pulled at runtime rather than embedded in code. Which service should hold them? A. The system prompt. B. Azure Key Vault. C. A public storage container. D. An environment variable checked into source control. Pause the video if you don't want the answer yet. Correct answer, B. Azure Key Vault. Why B is correct? The requirements are store secrets centrally, connection strings, third-party API tokens, retrieve secrets at runtime, avoid embedding secrets in code. Azure Key Vault is specifically designed for secure storage and management of secrets, API keys, connection strings, certificates, encryption keys. Question 67. A team needs their AI applications telemetry, latency, dependency calls, and exceptions captured so they can diagnose production issues. Which connected resource should the project integrate with at setup time? A. A batch endpoint. B. A block list. C. A translation flow. D. Application insights. Pause the video if you don't want the answer yet. Correct answer, D. Application insights. Why D is correct? The question asks for a resource that captures latency, dependency calls, exceptions, errors, production diagnostics, and monitoring. Application Insights, part of Azure Monitor, is specifically designed for application telemetry and observability. It collects request performance and latency, dependency tracking, APIs, databases, external services, exceptions and failures, usage analytics, distributed tracing. This helps teams troubleshoot production issues and understand application behavior. Application Insights is commonly integrated with AI applications and Azure services for end-to-end monitoring. Question 68. A regulated customer must guarantee that the compute running their managed model deployment cannot reach arbitrary internet destinations. Which network configuration enforces this? A. A higher token quota. B. A managed virtual network with outbound rules. C. A larger content filter. D. A public IP with no firewall. Pause the video if you don't want to answer yet. Correct answer, B. A managed virtual network with outbound rules. Why B is correct. The requirement is managed model deployment, no access to arbitrary internet destinations, enforced network controls, regulatory security compliance. A managed virtual network, managed VNet, with outbound rules allows you to restrict what the managed compute can access. You can configure it to allow only approved outbound destinations, minimizing data exfiltration risk and preventing access to arbitrary internet endpoints. In Azure Managed AI environments, a managed virtual network provides network isolation from managed compute resources and can be configured with an allow only approved outbound mode. Question 69. An organization wants to reproduce the same Foundry project setup, connections, deployments, and role assignments across dev, test, and prod without manual clicking. Which approach best achieves consistency? A. A single shared admin account. B. Screenshots of the portal. C. Emailing setup steps. D. Infrastructure as code templates. Pause the video if you don't want the answer yet. Correct answer, D. Infrastructure as code templates. Why D is correct. The scenario requires consistent environments, dev, test, prod, repeatable deployments, no manual portal configuration, reproducible connections, deployments, and RBAC assignments. This is exactly what Infrastructure as Code, IAC, provides. With IAC, such as ARM templates, Bicep, Terraform, or similar tooling, you define resources and configuration declaratively. Question 70. A team is deciding where to place a model deployment to minimize latency for users concentrated in one country, while a required model is only offered in a nearby region. What is the primary trade-off they must weigh? A. The color of dashboards. B. Model availability by region versus proximity to users. C. Font choice in the portal. D. Whether to use light or dark theme. Pause the video if you don't want the answer yet. Correct answer, B. Model availability by region versus proximity to users. Why B is correct. The scenario presents a common deployment decision. Users are concentrated in one country, so you want low latency. The required model is only available in a nearby region. You must balance user experience against model availability. If this was successful, please like and subscribe so that you get notified when I've released new questions.